Let's take a look at the top of the Premier League, where Liverpool are leading as it stands right now, but a lot of talk this week on Hugo Ekitike picking up that red card the other day for taking off his shirt and celebrating a goal when he was already on a yellow card. We already heard from Arne after the game on it, but we've heard more from him speaking about his player and this situation.
Discipline means that I spoke to him, then it's discipline, but I don't think that is disciplined. So discipline means fine, and that he didn't get. So it wasn't very smart what he did, what he recognized himself immediately straight away. So he said sorry straight away to his teammates. And he's young. Players of all ages do make mistakes, and that's what he did in this situation as well. But we all make mistakes, and you're allowed at this club to make a mistake without immediately getting fines or these kind of things. He's a fantastic human being.
Yes, so he is suspended for the game at the weekend, in case you were wondering, because it does carry on to the next domestic fixture. They're going to miss him this weekend, Stevie, against Palace. It
just so happens they bought another guy.
Oh, did he just happen to score in the last game as well?
It just so happens that they thought, you know what, if something happens with Ekitike, whether he's injured or suspended or something, or he's lost of form, let's bring somebody else in. So, I mean, again, Ali was talking about it last week. You know, some things fall into managers' laps. And this is one of them. Because there's no question, Arne Slot has a decision to make, or had a decision to make, who do you start? Because eventually, Alexander Isak's going to go, OK, I understand I missed pre-season. I get it that I have to wait my turn, but I didn't go through all that in Newcastle to sit on the bench. And somebody else plays. So this is falling right into Arne Slot's lap. Isak will start, and to say they're going to miss Ekitike when you can start Alexander Isak, I don't think anybody's going to fall for that one.
Oh, so they won't miss him?
They will miss the opportunity of maybe giving Isak a breather with 25, 30 minutes to go. But other than that, no.
Do you agree with that, Ale?
Yes. When we've been talking about the depth of Liverpool in the attack, given the signings and given the players that they have brought in, the conversation has been around, well, what is Arne Slot going to do? How is he going to get enough minutes to everybody? And Ekitike said, I have a thought. I have an idea. I'll do something idiotic. And then that answer to that question would be very, very easy and straightforward for Arne Slot. And so there are other areas that you could argue if indeed one of those players was missing, say Virgil van Dijk, that you could say then, you're going to miss him? Yes, we're going to miss him. This is one of the areas in which they can do without Ekitike because Isak can come in and do the job. It doesn't mean that they're going to win the game because Isak is playing, but you would assume that Isak would be far, far more than capable to be able to step in, take on the responsibility that is supposed to be his responsibility to begin with. When it's all said and done, and Arne Slot has to make these decisions, we thought if it's Isak or Ekitike, it's going to be Isak that plays. That's what we thought coming into the season. That's what we're going to get tomorrow.
So let's get to the point of the prediction and whether Liverpool will win this game. We've given our predictions for the Premier League this weekend. Obviously, Stevie's usually a little bit more tense when it comes to Liverpool against Crystal Palace, but not so much here. Gone for a 2-1 win.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, well, Liverpool's definitely winning, and I'm just going to say it's 2-1. There's no question that, you know, Frank was talking the other night about how Crystal Palace apparently gave Liverpool a lesson. He was talking about revenge. Well, here's an opportunity, if you're so inclined, to look at a game for revenge. But at the same time, looking at it on paper, Crystal Palace at home in the Premier League, a couple of draws against Sunderland in particular. You know, they haven't looked particularly great going forward. There's no Eze now to bail them out when they do all that shape and defending and getting players behind the ball. So I don't see how you cannot think that Liverpool, even though it's at Palace, with that great support they've got and the atmosphere they create, there's no way you can think that Liverpool are not favourites to win this game. And I don't see why they don't. You know, again, goal scorers. Isak's in for Ekitike, but they've got goal scorers all around the field. You can't say that about Crystal Palace. And Crystal Palace have been struggling to score goals. Liverpool, if there's one thing they haven't struggled to do, is put the ball in the back of the net so far in the Premier League. So you can't look anywhere other than Liverpool. And that's not to say that it's a walkover, okay?
But they're going to.
Let's get that right.
But they're going to win it.
Yes.
Let's talk about goal scorers for Chelsea, because when you take a look at their unavailable players ahead of their game against Brighton this weekend, you do have to put a big ring there around Cole Palmer. He'll be out until the international break, set to miss 3 games due to that groin injury that he aggravated last time out. How big a miss will he be, Ale, against Brighton?
Well, huge. Cole Palmer is the key for Chelsea, offensively speaking. Cole Palmer is critical to the success of this team and this club, and offensively he does a lot for this team. But if you are Chelsea, at some point you got to live up to a certain amount of expectation that was placed upon you given your success in the Club World Cup, given your success that allowed you to think, you know what, maybe we're not going to win this whole thing, but we are going to be in the conversation. And if indeed you're going to be in the conversation, these are matches that you have to win against Brighton, even without Cole Palmer.
Let's take a look at how the panel have picked when it comes to this Premier League fixture between these two sides. Ale thinks Chelsea can still do it, 2-1. Stevie, you're going for a 2-2 draw?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Chelsea defensively. Between the two centre-backs and the goalie, I think they're always capable of losing goals. And Brighton are a side that will, at any opportunity, try and get at you and will go forward and will play it short, but they'll play it long. I mean, they're not football snobs. They don't mind how they do it. They would love to do it playing properly, shall we say. But at the end of the day, they'll be going forward regardless of how they do it. And so I don't see how Chelsea keep a clean sheet. And I'm talking about, Liverpool having goal scorers. Chelsea got plenty of forwards, but they don't have many goal scorers. You take João Pedro away from what they have for this game, where's the goals coming from? So, yeah, I'm going to say that it's going to be 2-2. And the only reason I say that is because Brighton defensively give goals away. Sometimes you don't have to do too much against them to put the ball in the back of the net. So that's why I think Chelsea can score goals. Although, I've just said, they don't have many natural...
I love all the caveats tonight with
natural
Stevie.
Goal scorers in it, but...
However, here's the disclaimer. Stevie's been a little bit more confident for the next prediction that we are going to give you for Arsenal, because Stevie thinks Arsenal are going to beat Newcastle 3-1. Why?
I think this is set up for Arsenal. Newcastle at home will try and go forward. If there's one thing that we've complained about Arsenal, and the centre-forward position in particular, is because of games where they had opportunities or where people shot in. They couldn't break people down. But what they can do, if you give them a bit of space, is break you down and score goals. And this is set up for them. Newcastle will go forward. But Newcastle are struggling when it comes to scoring goals. I think they got three goals in 5 games in the Premier League. That's not great. They're sitting in 13th position. We thought Newcastle were going to be a side that would be in the top 4 or fighting for the top 4. So I think this game's set up for Arsenal. I don't think Newcastle are particularly dangerous right now, but Arsenal, if you give them space, will be and can be, and I'm sure they will be in this game. So that's why I see 3-1.
Does picking a draw from you, Ale, give an idea of how you think Arteta's going to approach this game?
No, it has nothing to do with Mikel Arteta. It has more to do with what I think is going to be a raging environment at Newcastle. And while I agree that they have had their limitations, you think about what Newcastle were against, say, for example, Liverpool. And, man, if they're able to replicate that sort of energy and that sort of intensity in which Liverpool, even playing a man up, couldn't complete passes because Newcastle were all over Liverpool. If they're able to replicate that, I think they can make this difficult for Arsenal. And the other thing I would say about Arsenal is that while we think that they're capable of scoring goals, they are not creating enough clear goal-scoring opportunities, consistently so. Look, Manchester City sat as deep as they possibly could sit. And he took, while it was a great finish from Martinelli, it's also a big mistake from Donnarumma in order for them to be able to break Manchester City down. And And this is not a great Manchester City defensive team, not at all. And yet the spaces were not there, the chances were not there. And the other thing I would say about Arsenal is that they have to be very careful about how things go this weekend. Let's assume that Liverpool does beat Crystal Palace. You drop points against Newcastle. You're already 5 points behind. You drop points against Newcastle, and you could find yourself 7, 8 points behind this early on. It's one of those matches in which if you're Arsenal, look, you got to start building momentum, and you don't want Liverpool to get out of sight too soon.
Now, I wanted to get your take on Craig getting a little bit angry. I mean, it doesn't take much.
Okay.
But it was to do
What are you
with...
talking about?
Craig angry.
was to
Take your
do
pick.
with Nicol Arteta saying that everybody was congratulating him for what they did against Manchester City. That riled Craig up that he said that. That he said everyone was talking about it and he was congratulating.
Who's everybody?
Didn't so much specify that?
Okay.
CEOs, everybody though.
Oh, everybody.
You know,
All right.
everyone, coaches, friends.
I mean, it doesn't take much to get him going. But to be fair, he does have a point. Are you saying that thinking that people are going to agree with who's been telling him this nonsense? Is that why he's coming out with it? Because he's actually patting himself on the back, saying how great we did against Man City? It just goes to show all the things we've said about Arteta, with all his cookie stuff, with the light bulbs and all the other nonsense, that he's not quite wired properly. Let's put it that way.
Let's assume.
He needs to see an electrician.
Okay.
His wiring's a little haywire.
Let's assume that indeed there's this group of people around him that came up to him and said, hey,
Well done.
that was great.
Yeah.
You guys were amazing. What a plan you had for this match. Unbelievable. This was great. Let's assume that actually happened and that this is not all made up.
No, I still have.
Okay.
All
right. Then why get yourself in front of a microphone to tell the world, people have told me how great I am and how great we are. Who in their right mind thinks that that's a good way to approach it when, mind you, you drop points at home. You didn't get the result that your great plan was supposed to render. If you had indeed a great plan and great execution of that plan, then you should have won the match. Yes? I think we can agree on that. If it was so great and you drop points, then why you think it's a good idea to go and tell the world, it was a great plan?
It's not about the points. It's about the process.
Oh, you got to trust the
It's
process.
about the process.
Oh, I forgot.
You've got to trust it, Ale.
You got to trust the process. I see. So we're not keeping up with points anymore, a count of points. That's not what decides a title. It's a process.
Gally, you've got to look at the big picture.
I'm sorry, Stevie. My bad.
Yeah, Ale, come on.
Hey, you know what? I apologize. I apologize to Mikel Arteta, and I apologize to Craig that I did not get as mad as he did about this subject.
No, but we did get a cupcake.
Well,
By the way, how many as well?
At his age.
now, can I just tell you, the picture that came with the cupcake of Craig doesn't show a man who's got it all going on up here. I mean, there's some challenges going on in his life in that picture.
It's to say to you, do you really want this cupcake? Do you really need it? This is to put you off.
Yeah, it was a very angry
It was
face
Craig toothless
staring at you in the cupcake.
You know the one. You know that
Bad for your
picture.
teeth.
Famous picture. Yeah, cupcakes are bad for your teeth. Perfectly said by Stevie.